Yeep.
I'm not gonna stop this for minutes.
People sued video game companies.
Yeep.
Please note that the views expressed in this video are those of the author and don't necessarily represent the views of and should not be attributed to Gaming Bolt as an organization. Craig Smallwood sues NCSoft. You've heard the stories about MMOs being too addictive, down to studios hiring behavioral scientists to help keep players hooked. However, not many players could be as addicted as Craig Smallwood in Hawaii, who spent 20,000 hours in NCSoft's Lineage 2 over 5 years. Eventually, Smallwood would sue the publisher for negligence and not warning him that the game would be so addictive.
Okay.
Oddly enough, the case wasn't outright dismissed, so the one lesson a developer can take away is that if you're going to make your game too addictive, it's best to warn consumers in advance. Fallout 4 ruins Russian man's life. Speaking of warning your customers in advance, you'd think that any Bethesda game would immediately throw up red flags for how addictive it can be. Unfortunately, that didn't stop a man in Russia from suing Bethesda because he couldn't stop playing Fallout 4 for 3 weeks on end, causing him to lose his friends, wife, and job. And to top it off, the man is claiming $7,000 in damages, which isn't a lot, but we don't see this case going far. Silicon Knights vs. Epic Games. Oh, the comedy of errors that was Silicon Knights' case against Epic Games. When the former's long-awaited 2 Human debuted and flopped miserably, it took Epic Games to task for not providing the complete Unreal Engine 3 toolkit, resulting in a terrible product. Hilariously enough, Silicon Knights illegally modified UE3 for creating its own engine. In the end, it had to pay Epic Games millions in damages and dispose of any games that used this engine in the process. Jack Thompson, Sony and Strickland.
What?
A lot of people may not hear the name Jack Thompson these days, but the man was a legal pariah 10 years ago. He's famous for 2 things: being debarred from law and pursuing inane lawsuits against video game companies like the case of Strickland vs. Sony. This was following the killing of 3 police officers by a man in Alabama, with the case stating that he was emulating Grand Theft Auto. Lindsay Lohan vs. Rockstar. Speaking of ridiculous cases going nowhere, actress Lindsay Lohan attempted to sue Rockstar for using her likeness in promotional art for Grand Theft Auto 5.
What?
The art in question featured Lacey Jonas, and while many were quick to point out how they looked nothing alike, Lohan's attorney made things more ridiculous by claiming the peace sign was a trademark of sorts for Lohan, who had been using it before the game's existence. Because, you know, those 70s non-protesters were actually time thieves who visited her present and stole it from her.
Don't do drugs.
NCSoft over $28,000 sword. What is it with Lineage and NCSoft? The company seems to get into more lawsuits over this seemingly harmless MMO than they should. Case in point is a woman who sued the developer after she enchanted a sword that was worth $28,000. According to the woman, she did so accidentally, having known the sword's value. Her player log didn't help matters though, since not only did she try to improve her enchanting chances beforehand, but continued enchanting items after the sword broke. Uri Geller in Pokemon. Geller is a magician essentially, and sued Nintendo over the use of his likeness. For what character, you ask? Why, Kadabra, because he holds a spoon just like Geller.
What?
Yeah, huh. To be fair, Geller was actually against having any connection to Pokemon. There's also the issue that Alakazam's name in Japan is Ungelid and has an evil variant. Clearly this is a shot at Geller. Clearly. Bethesda, Mojang, and Scrolls. Many Mojang fans know the company for...
Guys, I thought it was Mojang? Yo, Brian, what is it? Is it Mojang? Or is it Mojang? Which I thought it was Mojang. Brian, what is it? Mojang? Is it?
Minecraft, but it was hard at work. Many Mojang fans know the company for Minecraft, but it was hard at work on a new title called Scrolls. Many Bethesda fans know the company for The Elder Scrolls, and somehow parent company ZeniMax thought there would be some issue with another game having the word Scrolls in its title. Cue the lawsuit, though eventually it was amicably settled, since the judge refused an injunction to prevent Mojang from using the name before the trial took place. What is it with all these word-based cases anyways? Tim Langdell in Edge Games. Oh look, another word-based case. Imagine someone who owns a company. Yeah, let's go with company for now. Imagine someone who owns a company called Edge Games, and sues anyone who uses the word Edge. That's Tim Langdell in a nutshell, who unsuccessfully tried to sue EA over Mirror's Edge. Amazingly, he reached some sort of agreement with Edge magazine, but decided down the line that he should take their logo. Never change, Langdell. Never change. Oh wait, he has to because his ownership of the trademark was cancelled.
Okay.
King Saga versus the Banner Saga. Word-based lawsuits, they never get old or fail to anger. Here we have Candy Crush Saga developer King, who tried to trademark the word Saga, and sued Stoic Studio for using the word in the Banner Saga series. The stupidity inherent in this lawsuit apparently wasn't lost on King itself, and it summarily settled the dispute with Stoic later. Kane and Lynch versus Chinese Law, or not. Kane and Lynch 2 Dog Days was an awful game all around, but it was also the subject of a defamation case. You see, the game took place in Shanghai and didn't exactly show its people to be the best in the world. Forget the fact that it's a work of fiction, but the lawyer filing the case didn't even care if he won. He simply wanted it to be on record, because apparently losses count for something when scouting potential clients. Sony sued over false Killzone Shadowfall advertising. Killzone Shadowfall was a decent launch title for the PlayStation 4. However, some players took umbrage with the resolution, specifically in multiplayer because it wasn't 1080p, and filed a class action lawsuit against Sony. Here's where things get dicey. While Shadowfall doesn't have native 1080p in multiplayer, it does simulate the effect very well using a variety of technologies. Apparently that wasn't good enough for said players and the lawsuit was dismissed with prejudice. John Beiswenger versus Ubisoft. Link author John Beiswenger sued Ubisoft before the release of Assassin's Creed 3 because he claimed it was profiting off of the ideas in his books. The ideas in question involved accessing an ancestor's memories. Beiswenger dropped his copyright lawsuit, although he still believes in the merit of his claims. Tattoo artist Christopher Escobedo sues THQ. The world of copyright claim, especially when it comes to tattoos, is a messy place, and it was even more complicated in the case of Christopher Escobedo's case against THQ for UFC Undisputed.
What?
The tattoo artist alleged that Carlos Condit's tattoo in the game looked so accurate to his own design that it infringed on his copyright. Microsoft versus Micro. There's no denying that Microsoft is doing great with Windows 10 and Xbox One, especially when it comes to its public image of the same. It's almost easy to forget how evil the company can be at times, especially when it sued 12th grade high school student Mike Rowe over his site Microsoft.com having a phonetic resemblance to Microsoft.com. If that weren't enough, before even suing, Microsoft offered to pay him $10 for the domain name. While this isn't a case of someone being stupid enough to sue a video game company, the lengths both parties went to over this is amazing and sad.
10 whole bucks!
I hope you've enjoyed this video, so please consider subscribing to our channel. We do original content, reviews, graphics comparison, and much more.
Okay,
and try
chat,
to upload a video every day.
Chat, that's just a bad look. That's just a bad look if you offer 10 bucks.
Our God is descending
I guess they needed all the money they could pull together to make